Good day students, welcome to zoology class. Hope all of you are fine. So as you know that we are discussing about the kingdom Animalia and phylum Chordata, and in continuation to my presentations on phylum Chordata, I have started with subphylum Vertebrata. We have already finished subphylum Urochordata and Cephalochordata, and you also know that subphylum Vertebrata, it is divided into two divisions, division A Gnatha and division Gnathostomata. And division A Gnatha includes those organisms which are without jaws, and it includes one living class, that is class Cyclostomata, and we have discussed about the class Cyclostomata already. And then comes the second division, that is the Gnathostomata, and the organisms which are included in Gnathostomata, they bear jaws. And this division Gnathostomata, it has two superclasses, superclass Pisces and superclass Tetrapoda. And superclass Pisces has two classes, class Conjuncthites and Osteichthyes, which we have already discussed in the previous presentation. And today in the present presentation, I will take first two classes of superclass Tetrapoda. Tetrapoda means, tetra means four, poda means legs. The organisms which have four legs or two pairs of limbs, they are included in the superclass Tetrapoda, and it has four classes: class Amphibia, class Reptilia, class Apes, and class Mammalia. And in this presentation, I will discuss about the first two classes, that is the class Amphibia and the class Reptilia. So first of all, what is class Amphibia? Amphi means both and bio means life. So in class Amphibia, those organisms or those animals are included which can live both on land as well as in water. So they have life on land as well as in water, and these animals, they are called as amphibians, and they come under the class Amphibia. And so now you know that the organisms belonging to class Amphibia, they fall under the phylum Chordata and the kingdom Animalia. And these amphibians, they are multicellular vertebrates, and they can live both on land as well as in water. And there are about 3000 species of amphibians, and they are the first cold-blooded animals which live on land also, and they live only in fresh water, and there are no marine forms. It means there are about 3000 species of amphibians, and these animals are also cold-blooded animals, means poikilotherms, means they are not able to regulate their temperature according to the environment, and they are the first cold-blooded animals which can live on land, and they live in fresh water only, and they cannot survive in marine water or the sea water. So what are the characteristics of class Amphibia? So now you know that these can live both on land as well as in water, and they are cold-blooded animals, and they are found in warm environment. And the body of amphibians is divided into head and trunk, and in some cases tail is present, and in some cases tail is absent. And when tail is present, the trunk extends into tail, and neck in case of amphibians, it is absent. And the skin of the amphibians, it is smooth, it has no scales, and it has glands which make the skin of the amphibians moist, as you see in the frog. Frog is an amphibian. So they have no paired fins, and unpaired fins may be present in some cases, and they have two pairs of limbs for locomotion, and the forelimbs, they are smaller than the hind limbs. So hind limbs have webbed feet. So the amphibians have two pairs of limbs the forelimbs are smaller and the hind limbs are larger, longer, and the hind limbs, they have webbed feet. They have web in their feet. So this is about the limbs. So they respire through the lungs and the skin, and gills might be present externally in some adult. So when they are on land, they will respire through lungs, and they can respire through skin also. And in water, respiration is by gills, because amphibians can live both on land as well as in water. So nostrils are present behind the eyes for perceiving odor and for respiration. So amphibians have nostrils also, a pair of nostrils, and nostrils are present behind the eyes. And what is the function of the nostrils? Nostrils are for perceiving the odor, that is a smell, and they are also used for respiration when the animal is on land. And the eyes of the amphibians, they are provided with movable eyelid, and that movable eyelid is known as the nictitating membrane. So nictitating membrane is present in amphibians. And the mouth of the amphibians is large, as you see in case of the frogs. And this large mouth it has tongue which is attached in front, and it can be folded inside the mouth and shot out to capture the prey. So as our tongue is attached at the back, but in case of amphibians, mouth is large and their tongue is attached in front, and this tongue can be folded inside the mouth, and this tongue comes out when they have to capture the prey, they have to eat something. So this is about the tongue of the amphibians. And there are present two grey patches on the sides of the head, and they are known as the tympanum. And tympanum, it helps in hearing. So tympanum, which help in hearing, it is present in the form of the two grey patches on the sides of the head, and this helps in hearing. And the kidneys are mesonephric, and excretory material includes ammonia and urea. So kidneys, they function for excretion, and excretory material that contains ammonia as well as urea. And they possess 10 pairs of cranial nerves. 10 pairs of cranial nerves are present in amphibians, and they show hibernation and estivation. Hibernation is the winter sleep, and estivation is the summer sleep. So if we take the case of the frogs, they are visible mostly in rainy season, and in winters they go to hibernation, that is the winter sleep, and in summers they go for summer sleep, and summer sleep is known as estivation. And the sexes in case of amphibians, they are separate male and female animals, and fertilization is usually external in water. And however, in salamanders, which is also an amphibian, the fertilization is internal, and development is indirect with metamorphosis. It means the fertilization is external in most cases, but in salamanders fertilization is internal, but development is indirect, means larva is formed, and larva is tadpole larva, and that metamorphosis to form the adult form. And breeding occurs in water, and the copulatory organs are absent in males. There are no copulatory organs. And examples of amphibians, they are the frogs and the salamanders. And so these are the some of the characters of amphibians. So this is frog, and its zoological name is Rana tigrina, and this is salamander. So these are the examples of the amphibians. So this is all about the amphibians and its characters. Next comes the class Reptilia. Reptilia means, reptum means to creep or the crawl, and in this class Reptilia, those animals are included which are able to creep or the crawl, and snakes and lizards are included in this class Reptilia. And these were the first class of organisms to adapt to life on the land, and they are believed to have evolved from the amphibians millions of years ago, and there are about 6,000 different species of reptiles on earth, and they are also cold-blooded animals belonging to the phylum Chordata of Kingdom Animalia. And the skull of the reptiles, it is modified, that gives the reptiles an efficient and powerful jaw action, and the modification also makes the skull light. So the reptilians, they belong to a very old group, and they are evolved from amphibians millions of years ago, and there are about 6,000 species of these reptilians, and they belong to class Amphibia and phylum Chordata. They belong to class Reptilia, phylum Chordata, and animal kingdom. And so these reptilians, they are supposed to be evolved from amphibians, and when these reptilians were evolved, the earth was inhabited by huge reptiles, and that time is referred to as the age of reptiles. They were very large in size and were collectively known as dinosaurs. Dinosaurs became extinct about 65 million years ago, and the present day reptiles, they are the lizards, snakes, and crocodiles. And what are its characters? These are creeping or burrowing terrestrial animals with scales on their body. So they have scales on their body, but amphibians have no scales on their body, and they creep or burrow on the land. Terrestrial means land animals. And they are also cold-blooded animals like amphibians, and these are found in most of the warmer regions of the world. And their skin is scaly, dry, and rough, and it has no glands, but amphibians have glands. That is why their skin is moist. And the body is divided into head, neck, and trunk and tail. And in case of amphibians, there is no neck. And few of these reptilians, they shed their scales on their skin as skin cast. They throw away their scales as skin cast, as in case of the snakes. Snakes leave their skin sometimes, and the respiration takes place with the help of lungs in case of the reptilians. And the skull is monocondylic, means it has one condyle in the skull, and they have two pairs of pentadactyl limbs, each bearing claws, and snakes are an exception. It means all the reptilians, they have two pairs of pentadactyl limbs like amphibians, and each limb or each limb, it has claws. But snakes are also reptilians, but they do not have limbs. So this is the exception in case of the snakes. Now heart. Heart is three-chambered in case of the reptilians, and it is also three-chambered in case of the amphibians. But crocodiles, which are also reptilians, they have four-chambered heart. And the nervous system in case of reptilia, it comprises of 12 pairs of cranial nerves, and in case of amphibians, there were 10 pairs of cranial nerves. And the lateral line system is absent in reptiles. And except for snakes, all the reptiles have well-developed ears. So all the reptiles, they have ears, but snakes do not have ears. And they possess a typical cloaca. Cloaca is the opening which is used for reproductive material as well as for the digestive system. And reptiles are ureotelic, uricotelic, and ammonotelic. It means the excretory material of the reptiles can be urea or uric acid or ammonia. If it is urea, then it is known as ureotelic. If it is uric acid, then it is uricotelic. And if the excretory material is ammonia, then the animals are known as ammonotelic. And fertilization in case of the reptiles, it is internal, and they exhibit a meroblastic segmentation. So segmentation is also present in the reptiles, and reptiles are oviparous, and the eggs are very yolky. So in the reptiles, they lay eggs, and the eggs are very yolky, and they produce large yolk filled eggs, and they have a membrane which is known as the amnion. It means the reptilian egg has a membrane known as amnion, which provides a watery environment and so eliminates the need for external water and gives protection to developing embryo. So these are the characters of reptiles, and the examples are snakes, turtles and tortoises, lizards and crocodiles. And the wall lizard, it's a very common example of the reptiles. So this is wall lizard, and its zoological name is Hemidactylus. Then all types of snakes are also included in class Reptilia, and snakes are the limbless reptiles, and chameleon is also one of the reptiles, and turtles, tortoise, crocodiles, alligators and gharials. So these are all the examples of class Reptilia. So this is all about the class Reptilia. So today we have discussed about the class Amphibia and the class Reptilia. So you have to go through this presentation. I have also sent you study material, and you have to prepare notes by consulting notes as well as this presentation. And then if you have any doubts, you can note those doubts, and those doubts can be discussed in the class. Okay, thank you.